What's up, guys? Welcome to 49ers After Dark. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, Jessie Naylor. Niner fans losing their mind. Sky falling week 4. It's great for content creators. I'm having a great time. Sky's not really falling. How you doing, Jesse?
Well, I beg to differ, Grant. I'm in Florida, and the sky is definitely falling here. No joke. No, real talk. I just want to say thank you to anybody that's shot like a prayer my way, a thought my way. We are good. I'm in Tampa. Luckily, the storm late last night shifted, went a little bit south of us, so we've been great, but not so much south of us. So I would say any thoughts, prayers, whatever it is you want to give, I would throw their way for sure. They definitely need it there.
Yeah, we were bracing to not do the show tonight,
Yep.
and I told him he was. I mean, how do you offer help to someone who's on the other side of the country? But still, if you want to crash with me, you're welcome to come on over. Plus, you are going to crash with me in a couple of months.
Yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
So look, Kyle's under fire this week. Jimmy's under fire this week. The Niners have as close to a must-win game as you could have right now. So let's start with Kyle Shanahan. I've been real tough on him, but let's kind of take a step back and just analyze why this season is so crucial for him, win or lose.
Yeah, I just think that Kyle has something that he can prove to the naysayers, right? And I know that I'm also hard on Kyle, but I do believe that he's still probably the right man for the job, mostly because I think if we want to see Trey Lance reach his potential in a 49er uniform, whether we agree with how Shanahan ran him, he's the only guy that put his investment and his stock into Trey Lance. So if somebody else comes in, that's not necessarily going to happen.
That's a good point.
So with that being said, I think Shanahan, much like last year, when they started 3-5, to me proved a lot, right? Because he was able to bring that team out of the depths of a losing season. It was not looking good. And I thought he did a great job taking accountability and just kind of changing the way that he was perceived by the media. Now, the beginning of this year, he's kind of reverted back, but I would say this. I think in a winning season, certainly he can do what he did last year and prove a lot to people, showing he can do it twice. I also think in a losing season, knowing that there probably are players in this locker room that prefer one quarterback over the other, whether it's a big issue or not, certainly those things can come to light more when teams start to lose. And even if they have a losing season, in my opinion, if Shanahan can keep this together, he's going to prove as much or more, to me at least, than he would in a winning season. And again, I look at the optics, I look at the personal stuff, I look at just the human side of things. To me, those things are important. So even in a losing season, Shanahan can really prove a lot to us.
If he loses this season, I don't know what's going to happen to him. I think that's why this season is so big for him. Like, people are really doubting him more than they've doubted him in like 10 years. And they're looking at him. I think his peers are looking at him and laughing because of the Trey Lance thing. Not that they wouldn't have drafted Trey Lance, but I think they correctly assessed that Kyle did a terrible job of developing Trey Lance, and the way he used him in year 2 was ridiculous. So there's that. And then there's the fact that he lost Mike McDaniel, and the Dolphins are doing really well, and the Niners offense looks not just mediocre, but bad. So a lot of people are looking at him like, man, like, did we have you wrong the whole time? Like, were you not a genius? Were you taking credit for Mike McDaniel's homework? All this kind of stuff. So he's never faced this from the fan base, from media before. If he could prove us all wrong and show that Mike McDaniel was not essential to him, and that Trey Lance's injury was just a fluke, and that he can win with whatever, then we'll all have to give him a big apology. But I think a lot of people are kind of expecting that that's not going to happen. So big year for him. He's always had critics. And he's always done a really good job of like silencing them. Now the critics are getting really loud, and it's looking like he doesn't have a response. Although the response would be beating the Rams this week. So let's see.
Yeah, I would say even some of his biggest fans, right? I think even they're starting to be like, I still like Shanahan, but there are some weird things going on here. And so when that starts to happen and you start to see that shift, it really is hard to kind of turn that around. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, it is. It's a huge season for Shanahan. Not that he's going to be fired, right? I don't want to like put it out there that I think he's going to be fired one way or another.
Let's not even go there. Yeah, it's week 4.
It's way too early for that. But it is huge for him in many, many ways. There's so many ways he can either lose the public perception or win the public perception, whether they win or lose. And I'm curious to see how he navigates this season. I really am.
What he did with Trey Lance, to me, he can't talk his way out of. He did that. It was terrible. The one thing that's interesting, though, is the Mike McDaniels thing. Like, you got to now show that you're good without him because he's doing well without you. And the thing that's interesting about them is they worked together for 18 years. It's so interesting, their story. Yeah. Mike McDaniel got his start with Mike Shanahan. Kyle got his start with John Gruden. They were in different places. So I don't know how Mike Shanahan heard of Mike McDaniel, but he brought him in as an intern in 2005 and was so impressed that he got a job the next year with Gary Kubiak in Houston. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out what did Mike McDaniel do. There was a quote from Kyle Shanahan 3 weeks ago before week 1 where he explained it. He's like, look, I've had Mike for 18 of my 20 years as a coach. Only 2 of those years was he a position coach, which means he never had a group of players to focus on, which means he was my guy. He was the guy making tapes, clips. So it sounds to me like he was the game planning extraordinaire. And then you had Joe Staley on with Rob Guerrera, Stats on Fire, friend of the show. Love that guy. And Joe Staley said, look, man, Kyle Shanahan is the play caller. He takes it and puts it together and figures out the sequencing and when to call things. Mike McDaniel is the play designer. And what's crazy is we always said about Kyle, great play designer, iffy play caller. Well, he wasn't even designing the run plays. It was Mike McDaniel. So Kyle has a lot to prove here. You know, you got Chris Forrester, you got your dad, you got your own 20 years of experience. Show that you weren't cheating off of Mike McDaniel's test the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, show that it wasn't a group test and that he wasn't doing all the work. We got to see that. So far, at least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back just slightly because here's what I'll say.
Push.
You look at the first 2 weeks of this season, they were running the ball at an extremely high clip. And in this last week, they would have done it again, but they couldn't convert a third down. They couldn't stay on the field. They just couldn't do it. They were on pace for another 150 plus. So, and that was with 2 different quarterbacks.
Hold on though. Let me push back on your pushback.
Okay, push back on your pushback. All right, yeah.
So
you can't triple stamp and double stamp Lloyd.
So Staley was talking about the run plays. Staley's been gone for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. McDaniel was the run game coordinator. He graduated to offensive coordinator. And I think what Kyle was saying was, forget the title. He was the guy making the clips. He was the guy showing you what the opponent was doing because he didn't have a specific position group. So I think he probably helped the pass game too, especially when he was the offensive coordinator. And look what he's doing. I mean, they're not running it a ton in Miami. They're passing the hell out of the ball. So I think his influence was probably widespread. And it doesn't mean the Niners will fail without him, but it does mean that his absence is critical, I think. And it's big shoes to fill. Clay Kubiak, you're up.
Yeah, they certainly didn't miss a beat when LaFleur left, right? Like that didn't happen at all. They were just fine. And, but I will say this offense has struggled mightily in one half or the other. And that started last year as well.
It's true.
They first half, they couldn't score for the first half of the season. They could not score in the first half of games. Then it shifted in the second half of games. They couldn't score. They really haven't put together many complete games from a scoring aspect for a few years now. And that was with Mike McDaniel here. So I don't know, man. I can't put a finger on it.
Coming back to the original topic, then we'll move on why the season is so big for Shanahan. It just feels like he's starting to look like a system coach. The way he used Trey, the way that Jimmy Garoppolo seems to be pushing back on the way he uses him. Like Jimmy's actually trying to act like he's being hamstrung by Kyle Shanahan. Like he's got his quarterbacks pushing back. This is all uncharted territory for Kyle Shanahan. So he has to, navigate these choppy waters, and we haven't seen him do it yet. So, and he's gonna have to do it without Spock, who apparently is Mike McDaniel. So Captain Kirk, let's see you do it. You got to.
He has to change something. Something has to change, no doubt about it. And we'll see. We'll see what his growth is in this season. Because like I said, one way or another, we're gonna either see growth or we're gonna see stagnation. And we'll see which way it goes.
We haven't seen growth yet. This is the week. The Rams gotta win. Elvis, thank you. Dave, what's up, guys? I've been tuning in. Jesse, haha, Grant, as always, killing it. Love the Cohn phone. Having your dad and you to discuss is awesome. Same with all your guests. Jesse is killing it. You guys are unbiased truth. Dave is just such a nice guy.
Thank you, Dave. Hey, my favorite show is him and his dad as well. Hey, my favorite show is him and his dad as well. So
Oh yeah, play Mace. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It's nice to have my dad back. We didn't do it for a very long time.
mm-hmm.
Dave says last thing, Eddie D never would have stood for this. Yeah, he would have been losing his mind, which I appreciate because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't even root for this team. Jovel, thank you. Brian, thank you. Dave coming through clutch. Not last thing, we may need to clean house of some of the vets if they can't move on from Jimmy. And why was Lenore instead of Womack? Am I seeing 2021? That was strange, man. Lenore is good for one penalty a game. Why? I liked Womack. What was wrong with him?
I think it has something to do with the run fits potentially, but okay. Womack's playing well. I think if it was me, I'd play the matchups. I would play Womack this week against Cup. I like that matchup a lot more.
Don't talk to me about run fits against the Rams. They can't run the ball.
Yeah, I don't care.
Nathan says, what's up, Grant and Jesse? Jesse, glad you and your family are doing good. Praying for everyone in Florida dealing with the hurricane. Ian, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about Jimmy. Jimmy looked good in the first half of the Seattle game in relief. He looked bad in the second half. He looked bad against the Broncos. He's looked bad for 6 straight quarters. He says he's not in football shape. He wasn't here all offseason. Is this going to get better? And if not, what is the breaking point? I didn't spell point right. I'm going to take this down. What is the breaking point where the Niners go to Brock Purdy?
Gosh, I would say if they're under 500 the first week out of the bye week. So I think they play the Chargers. So let's say they go into that 4-4. Then they come out of a bye week. Jimmy's still not looking good. They lose that game and they're 4-5. I think that's probably when they just say, listen, and I'll say this. I had this similar topic earlier in the week with, I can't even remember if it was Sunil or Jack, but either way, we were talking about something similar to this. And I didn't think there was a chance that Jimmy would be pulled. But looking at it, I was kind of swayed by the other person because they were like, listen, Jimmy's the backup now. It's not like you're pulling your starter. And look at how much money you can save by not playing him. So if you're not going to win anyways, why don't you just save the money, put him on the bench and let it go. So I really think the breaking point is that Chargers game. If they are under 500 after that, it's over.
I mean, yeah, I don't think they need to let the ship sink with Jimmy Garoppolo. Why? He, like you said, he's just a backup quarterback. He hasn't done anything all offseason. He says he's not in football shape. He might not be even top level. Jimmy isn't great. But if this is the version of Jimmy that you're getting this year, I mean, what they could do if he's disgruntled, if he's struggling and not in football shape and blaming Kyle and not with the program and maybe you do better with Brock. I'm just saying. So what they could always do is if Jimmy loses to the Rams and looks terrible, which is frankly quite possible without Trent Williams playing, you could say Jimmy's hurt. His back hurts. He has a groin injury. Whatever. Tell him, Jimmy, you're injured. We're not going to humiliate you. We're not benching you, but you're injured and you're not playing, and Brock's going to play for a week, and we'll see what he does. And if Brock plays poorly, you'll be healthy next week, Jimmy. And if Brock plays well, you are going to be still injured next week. I mean, that's what you could do. Honestly, Jimmy's not that gifted. The difference physically between him and Brock isn't that big. Brock's been here every step of the way this offseason. Brock's bought in. Jimmy's not. Jimmy hasn't. I'm not saying bench him now, but I'm also saying sign Cam Newton. So I'm real. I wouldn't give Jimmy 8 weeks. Show us something now. Show us something this week. We saw what you looked like last time you played the Rams. Come on. What do you got? I don't know.
Do you feel like Kittle was a little perturbed in the post game when talking about, it was either the post game or the day, I can't remember. My days are running together right now, to be honest. But he talked this week and talked about why they lost that game.
Yeah,
sounded like he was putting it all on Jimmy to me, which was interesting for a guy they're like best friends. That was a different shift from him. I did not expect to see that.
Agree. He said basically we made mistakes there. 1 for 10 on third down. The turnovers. Yeah, Jimmy.
Yep.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he's bought in. I mean, from what he showed in that game was one of the worst starts of his career. I mean, you can't say the safety was rust. And so just utter carelessness, sloppiness. And after he lost, a big smile on his face that really pissed off Brent Jones in particular. played with Joe Montana and Steve Young. Never saw that. So I think also what was caught on camera by Brooks Anderson, B&A Music?
Yeah, B&A Music, yep.
Your plays suck, man. Like, wow. Like, Jimmy's not looking real great right now, you know? I don't know. Man.
The lip reading was hard on that, but it definitely ended in suck, man, and it looked like play or plays. So I don't know
like
if he's talking to himself.
Man. Yeah.
Like your play, like he's talking to himself, or either way, wasn't good optics.
I mean, when you factor in that Jimmy Garoppolo last week was saying, like, I need more freedom, and Kyle's like, I mean, what he's saying is, you're hamstringing me. You're telling me what to do, and it's not working. To me, that's what it seems like, is what he's saying. I'm throwing to the guy you tell me to throw to. He's not open. And so, people are going to crush me when they look at the all-22 and say XYZ was open down the field. You're telling me to throw here, right? You're telling this is the play call. Here's the coverage I'm thinking is going to be. Here's where I want you to go with the ball. And I think what he's saying is, let me figure it out. Let me do the math problem on my own, because your answers aren't giving me the right answers. And I think what he's saying, and maybe he's wrong, but the fact that all this, like, that they're not on the same page.
Yeah.
I don't think Brock Purdy would be feuding with the coach. I don't think you can win if the coach and the quarterback are feuding. So maybe I'm wrong. Let's see, Jimmy, you got another chance this week. Beat the Rams, and then we won't talk about this. But if you lose to the Rams and you have the safety and the pick six and the interception forced into double coverage over the middle that we're all expecting, why do we need to see that again and again and again?
You said something a few minutes ago. You said that you think this is a must win. Do you really think this is a must win? Like, they've got to win this one? They got to have it?
If they lose this one, I mean, they're 1-3. The season isn't over, but it's hard to look at this team as a legit Super Bowl contender. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they'll probably beat Atlanta and Chicago and Carolina, but
Carolina, yeah.
I think they will, but at the same time, they lost to Chicago, so it's hard to say what this team's going to do. They keep beating themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't think anybody can. And I know people are doing it, looking at the schedule and going, "Oh, that's a win. That's a win." Can you do that with anybody right now?
The Niners beat themselves. They beat themselves, so they could lose any game. Yeah,
I don't think it's a must-win in the sense. It's a must-win for the division. I do believe that. If they lose this game, they're not winning the division, because essentially they're 2.5 games behind the Rams. They're 2 games in the loss column. They also have a loss to an NFC opponent in Week 1, where the Rams lost to an AFC opponent. So now they're losing that tiebreaker as well. So they're not going to win the division if they lose this game. I think they can still make the playoffs if they lose this game, but it's a must-win for the division. It really is.
I guess why I'm saying it feels like a must-win game is it feels like this team is on the brink of collapse. Like, it feels like there's something different about this team, that they're split, that they're angry, that they're not going along with the program of their head coach. And if they start 1-3, that I don't know if they've always been such a tight-knit team. I don't know if they are anymore. So I don't know what happens if they lose to the Rams this weekend. If they beat the Rams, I mean, they're back in business. So that's why this is such a big week. Like, if they win, it's like none of this stuff ever happened. They just beat the Super Bowl champions. Forget about it. They're slow starters. If they lose, like, oh my God, there's something seriously wrong here. What is going on? I think.
Yeah, it does feel different, right? Like, even at 3-5 last year, I still felt like there was togetherness. It does seem like there's some sort of something going on. I can't put a finger on it. I can't say for sure, but there sure is a lot of odd leaks coming out. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like the locker room was never all in with the Trey Lance thing, but last year was Jimmy's year. And I felt like the team rallied around Jimmy. And this year, the team doesn't know Jimmy's not good enough to rally around. He's not in football shape. He's got a million excuses. Like, the team doesn't know what to do, and I think they're kind of frustrated about all of it. You know?
Yeah, you can feel it. You really can feel it.
Yeah. They wanted Jimmy to be the answer. He's not the answer, at least not yet. Maybe he will be this week. Ryan says, "What's up, Grant and Jesse? Love the show. Why is Kyle completely taking Kittle out of the pass game and Jordan Mason only 1 touch? Because he's a troll." No, I think he keeps talking about football shape, right? Like, Kittle's not in football shape yet. Armstead's not in football shape yet. And Kittle's injury prone. If you keep throwing him out there when he's not in football shape, he'll keep getting hurt. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do? I get it. What you're supposed to do is trade Kittle. Sorry. That's what you're supposed to do. But if you don't trade Kittle, then you have to manage Kittle. What sucks is managing Kittle, it means 7 yards a catch. What the hell happened, man?
Gosh, dude, I just don't know how much of that's Kyle, how much of that's Jimmy. That's what's so Okay, so if Jimmy and Kyle really are at odds the way it sure seems that way, it's such an interesting thing because neither one of them want each other, but they need each other
Yeah,
so
I know.
much. Jimmy needs Kyle because he needs to put a good resume out there for the next team, and Kyle needs to freaking win games to keep this locker room together. It's such a strange pairing.
Dave Barclay says if we aren't advancing, then why not play the kid? Well, I have a feeling that Purdy might not be that great either. And this whole like who's better discussion is really like doesn't matter. And Kyle like has a weird taste in like physically ungifted quarterbacks. So it's possible that Purdy, if you bench Jimmy and you go to Purdy and he loses and plays bad, then you look even dumber. These are the decisions Kyle has. How do I not look stupid, even more dumb than I have the first 3 weeks? Because he looks bad right now. I mean, the way he got Trey hurt, the way Jimmy's looking. I mean, he's got 28th in points scored. How do I not look even dumber? That's what he's thinking right now. And Brock Purdy can make him look real dumb if he ain't good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't know. Scary times.
Right.
Jovel says, hello, guys. Love the show. Quick question. What's up, Jovel? If the playoffs are not in question, does Trey get the last 4 or 5 games?
I mean, if he's able to
he
come
won't be
back,
in football shape. He won't be in football shape.
Yeah.
No.
You only do it if he's fully healthy, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no question that he's healthy. Then certainly, yes, of course.
Because if he has a setback and you get him hurt again, oh my god.
Yeah,
I mean, you thought he took criticism for running him up the tackles. What about if he gets him hurt again? His neck, his back, I'm not going to finish that bar. Jay Small says, why have Brock if the vets wanted Jim? Wouldn't be fair for Lance despite injury. Why have Brock if the vets wanted Jim? Who cares what the vets want?
Yeah, I mean, if they're losing, if you wanted Jim so bad and you're losing, then screw you. You asked for this.
David says, going to be hard to bench Jimmy when Flav is such a great PR agent for him. Well, Flav is convinced that the Niners are going to win handily this weekend. We'll see. Would you trade the farm for Lamar Jackson? The farm? You don't have a farm to trade. You traded it for Trey.
What? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Our crops are dried up, my man.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Lamar's actually. I was looking at him being like, what's up, man? Like, why have you struggled the last couple of years? Well, it's always nice to see a guy respond to questions.
Do we trust Kyle with Lamar, though? Like, he's going to be like, you know what? I know that you're really good at improvising and doing your own thing and getting outside the tackle. Quarterback power.
That's right. C. Turley says, if Jimmy loses this game, similar to how he did against Denver, do you think he gets benched? I don't know. I think it's within the realm of possibility. If Jimmy's playing bad and mouthing off to Kyle, who knows? Dude, bench him, Kyle. Come on. Don't take that. Don't let him say that your plays suck. You're going to be on Monday Night Football. Zero unity, says Dave. Yeah. Toby says defense had to score 14 points, special teams 6 points, offense 10 points, and they will win. Yeah, if the defense scores 14. The Polo Show says it feels like this locker room has revenge tour fatigue. Yeah, man, they've been on the revenge tour for like half a decade. Kyle's not a genius, period. Yeah, we got to stop throwing around the genius label. These are football coaches. Okay? Got to stop. Michael says Jimmy doesn't have a mic back to Kyle's ear. If this is the case, he was talking directly to Kyle to tell all his plays suck. I don't think he does have a mic back to Kyle's ear. Does he? I don't think so. No. I wish he did, though. I wish he did. Last one. Chris Soto 17 says, Trey Lance, I made too many mistakes. Jimmy Garoppolo, we were terrible today. Who is the 9-year vet? Also, Lamar better negotiate with to get rid of banana hands.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. If Lamar wants to come to the Niners, but he doesn't want to work with Kyle Shanahan, who do you keep? Is Kyle expendable at that point?
Come on.
All right. So the Niners playing the Rams this week. This is it. This is a huge game. The Niners will win this game if what happens?
They've got to be able to run the ball a lot because not only do we not trust Jimmy Garoppolo, but the best left tackle in the game is out, right? So if Jimmy is feeling very jittery because he doesn't have his protection, it's not going to go well. So what was the formula to beat the Rams last year in the regular season, Grant? It was running the ball 40 freaking times. I'm not going to say 40 is the number, but they've got to get to 30. If they get to 30 rushing attempts, they've won this game, in my opinion. So run the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball that well because the last time Jimmy Garoppolo faced the Rams, they shut the run down. And everyone knows if you're facing Jimmy and Debo and this team, you have to stop the run or you're going to lose. So they may want to, they may try, they may fail, they may lose. I think what has to happen, I think their elite defense has to force multiple turnovers and give the offense short fields. Like the defense almost has to score. And short of that, they have to give the offense like layups, man. Because I don't know how well the offense is going to move the ball. They're going to have a defense that's going to be keyed in to their running game. And you don't have Trent Williams. And when it's time to pass and they know it, if you fall behind, good luck. If it's 3rd and 9, good luck. Like, this defense is really going to have to be amazing and score points. So I'm thinking scoring points, multiple turnovers, that kind of stuff from this defense. And they could. I mean, the Rams have a terrible offensive line. Their quarterback's mistake prone. They have like one good player on offense. Like, they could definitely dominate this game. They've done it before. They did it week 10 last year. I mean, they knocked out the Rams in week 1 in the first quarter. Jimmy Ward twice. They need to do that.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, they definitely have to be dominant, but at the same time, Grant. Okay, when we look at the pick 6 fumble, which was a glorious play in itself, but when we look at that, the 3 drives around that were 49ers started at their own 43, started at their own 43 again, started at Denver's 41. They combined for 25 total yards and 3 points. Good field position is not going to be enough, Grant. It may not be enough. They have to do something on offense. Something.
No, you're right. They have to do something on offense. They have to do something. The Niners will lose if they do something on offense. Something.
Maybe that's the
do something.
Do anything.
Yeah, and especially like after the first half. Like they're gonna score in the first quarter. Their script will be nice. Can you do anything after the first half?
Yeah, that's true.
Because no, last few times it's been no. All right, the Niners will lose to the Rams Monday night. If what happens?
They can't convert on 3rd down. If you have another game where you're 1 of 10 or anything close to that, it's over for you. You cannot establish the run if you can't put drives together. Jimmy Garoppolo, that is one thing that Jimmy has done well, regardless of what we want to say about Jimmy. He has done very well on 3rd down in this offense. That was the worst performance maybe he's ever had on 3rd down, and it led to a disaster of a game. They have to convert on 3rd down. They have to.
It's true. They do have to convert on 3rd down. Good luck with that, though. I don't know. Here's one. They have to hold their own against Cooper Kupp. They have to figure out which nickelback gives them the best chance against Cooper Kupp. Like in the past, they had K'Wan Williams, who would hold his own, but he was starting to get torched by the end, and that's why they got rid of him. Now they got Sam Womack and Diamador Lenore, and I think Womack's better. They brought in Lenore last week, I'm thinking, because they were more worried about Denver running the ball than Denver passing the ball. Fine. This is a different team. The Rams can't run the ball. They throw it to one guy over and over and over and over again, and if you can't at least hold your own, you're screwed. And I thought Womack might be able to hold his own. I don't think Lenore can. And not only that, he'll give up big plays. He'll commit penalties. So they got to figure that out. If you can't stop Kupp, you're screwed.
I wonder if, and we saw this a little bit, I want to say it was I think it was Seattle that I saw Ward travel to the slot. I think it was Seattle. Yeah, it was. Maybe that's the option.
Whatever it is.
Travel. Yeah.
They have to have an answer for Kupp. And it's like, you knew this. He was the best receiver last year in the league. You had to have a plan. He beat you in the NFC Championship game. Let's see what. And you know what? I have all this snark and skepticism for Kyle because he can't get out of his own way. Not for D'Amico. I trust that D'Amico will figure this out. And I'm just kind of curious to see what his solution is. I'm not telling D'Amico what to do. I'm actually just kind of curious to see what he does. I think he'll have the right answer. He usually does.
I think he needs to dust off the old Saleh game plan because Saleh did a great job. He knew about Cooper before it seems like everybody else did. Because for a couple of years, if you look at the way that they played against the Rams when Saleh was around, bracket coverage, they did not let him do anything. And that is what killed that team. So
that's correct.
You do the same thing right now, different quarterback, right? But if you do the same thing right now, he doesn't want to throw to anybody else. I mean, Higbee every once in a while, but who cares, right? Like
Skoranek.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Saleh identified like 4 or 5 years ago that the offense goes through Kupp. If you shut down Kupp in that run game, you win. And the Rams have no run game anymore. It's all about Kupp. And I think the thing with D'Amico is he's way more aggressive than Saleh. And he has his cornerbacks challenging receivers in their faces, press man. Man, you don't have anyone that can match up with Cooper Kupp. So Saleh was much more careful with Kupp. Play off, bracket, don't let Kupp beat you. Like, you're almost daring Kupp to beat you, D'Amico. So I'm curious to see how he handles this. You're daring him to beat you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, D'Amico was here for that. So maybe he's like, all right, we'll do
D'Amico
that.
did do a good job bracketing and shutting down Devontae Adams before the NFC Championship game. So he can do it. He just let Kupp destroy him in the NFC Championship game. Let's play the over-under game and get out of here.
It's been a while since we've been able to play this damn game. All right. So just to be clear, we're 1-1. We weren't able to do it last week. We got hijacked by Super Chats. But week 2, I won. Week 1, you won. So we're 1-1 going into this one. All right. We'll start with the offense first. Over or under 235.5 passing yards for Jimmy Garoppolo?
I'm going to say under. I mean, there's always the possibility that he'll get like a bunch of screens that go for long gains. The Rams sometimes give those up against the Niners, but without Trent Williams, Aaron Donald, he says he's not in football shape. Like, I'm not just going to bet on Jimmy to like have a magical bounce back. Like, he's been struggling since last year. I'm kind of going to bet against him until he has one good game. I'm not really convinced he's going to turn this around anytime soon.
When was the last good game he played? Falcons?
Yes, and that was 10 games ago. So we're talking like 9 in a row.
Yeah, it's
9 in a row.
Not good. It hasn't been good. 235. Gosh. It's such a doable number.
I know.
Such a doable number. I'll go under as well. I don't feel good about it. I really think he might get there, but I'm going to go under. Okay. Brandon Ayuk, 55.5 receiving yards. Over or under?
What do you have last week? 39?
Something like that.
But
he had 3 catches?
On this, over. I'm going to say over. They have Jalen Ramsey, but he's not going to be on Ayuk. No. And Ayuk isn't going to be facing like Pat Surtain anymore. Over. Oh, I have no confidence in that. Over? I have no confidence in that. Why did I say over? Under.
I don't know. I'm going to go over as well. And the only reason is this. NFC Championship game. When I go back and I watch that game, Ayuk was wide open all over the field because Ramsey did not follow him, and he's not going to follow him again. So with that being said, Shanahan has to know. He has to watch that tape and see all of that. Yeah. And Jimmy has to be ready to throw his way. Now, that's the iffy part. If I see Ayuk running another dig and Jimmy doesn't hit him on a wide open dig, I'm going to pull my freaking hair out. But the option will be there. Ayuk will be open. He will probably be open a lot. Jimmy, just throw the damn ball his way. You'll get your 235.5 that way also, I promise you.
Yeah.
All right, Debo, over or under 5.5 carries?
I'm going to say under. I don't think the Debo running back thing is working anymore. I think you want to give him a couple carries, and I think you want to throw it to him out of the backfield because you get him on linebackers and stuff. But, dude, just throw him a screen, man. Like, it's not working anymore. When Trey Lance was here, it was going to work because it was a whole different thing. Now it just seems like the league's caught on, man. I don't see the upside anymore, and you're going to get him hurt. So hopefully under.
God, dude, you're not going the way that I expect you to go on these. I agree. I think it's going to be under as well. They need to get him going in the jet sweeps. If they're going to run him, get back to the jet sweeps. Those still work.
End arounds, jet sweeps, screens.
Yes, all that.
In space. Yes. Why are you running in between the tackles? Why is Kyle so obsessed with the tackles in between them? He wants to be there.
You're right. I'll say this though. He might get over 5.5 because they've thrown those screens, like they've gone 5 wide and they've thrown those screens that end up actually being running plays because it's behind the line of scrimmage. He might sneak over because of a play like that, but we'll see. I'm going to go under as well. All right. George Kittle, over or under 3.5 catches in this game.
Over. They need him to be over. And if he had 4 catches last week, then he needs 5 catches this week. And I know they're trying to be cautious and stuff, but you gotta up it. You gotta up the usage because they're not gonna win without throwing in the ball. 28 receiving yards. It's gotta be more. It's gotta be more.
I would agree. It's gotta be more. I'm gonna go under. You don't have Trent Williams. Guess who's gonna be your sixth offensive lineman?
That's a good point.
George Kittle.
That's a good point.
They've proven that's the case. So I don't see him out there for a lot of routes. I really don't. So I'm gonna go under on that one.
That bodes well for this game. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It definitely does. All right.
Yeah.
Over or under 1.5 turnovers for the 49ers offense?
Over. Sorry. Over. Is Jimmy Garoppolo their quarterback? Yeah, over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he throw 2 picks in the NFC Championship game? Yeah.
Yeah.
Over. Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go under. I'm optimistic about this one.
I like
I know. I'm gonna go under. I think they have one turnover. I do. Right. I think they're gonna have one, but they're not gonna get that second one. Something about DBs. They don't like to catch Jimmy's passes sometimes. So they will be there. The opportunities will be there. Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Let's look at the defensive side of things.
All right.
Over or under 2.5 team sacks?
Over. I think they got this. I think the Rams have a terrible offensive line. Matthew Stafford is not particularly mobile. He holds onto the ball a long time. He wants to get it down the field. He's going down lots of times.
Okay. I'm going to go over as well. But remember, in Chicago, we thought it was going to be over as well, and we were both wrong about that.
That's true.
All right. Over or under 230.5 passing yards for Matthew Stafford?
Under.
Okay.
Under. Without Beckham, I just don't see where those yards are coming from. I mean, 100 could go to Cup, but where's the next 100 coming from? Higbee? Skoranek? Maybe.
180 might go to Cup. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It might. It's true. It really might. Yeah.
I'm going to go over. This team's just not a rushing team anymore, man. They just love to pass it all over the yard. He may get multiple picks, but he's going to throw that thing around. So I'm going to go over. Okay. Over under 90.5 rushing yards for the Rams.
Under. I expect the Niners defense to show up. They have shown up three games in a row, except for the second half of the first game. So I'm expecting the Niners defense to do the thing. Under.
I agree.
Not impressed.
Yeah.
Not impressed.
I remember having the arguments that Cam Akers was multiple people told me Cam Akers was better than Elijah Mitchell.
Maybe he was before he popped his Achilles, but not now.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go under 90.5 rushing yards defensively. Okay, here's the big one. Over under 1.5 turnovers forced by the defense.
It better be over, or else they're going to lose. I'm going to say over. Better be over.
I'm going to go under. I'll tell you why. For as good as this defense has been, the turnovers haven't been there. They haven't.
And when it is, it's like forced fumbles and stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like Josh Norman. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't understand it. You know, in the first game, there wasn't a lot of throwing. I can understand that, but they didn't force any. Mm-hmm. Did they force any this last game?
It was rough.
None, right?
I'm just banking on Stafford doing Stafford things. Because really, I think Stafford is like, he's a lot like Jimmy. He's like Jimmy with.
Oh, they're the same. They're the same
arm.
Player, except for Stafford has the arm. Man, he can make all the throws that Jimmy can't. Yeah,
exactly. But if you just let Stafford do his thing, like he'll give you the ball. He'll give you some opportunities, just like Jimmy. So we'll see.
Same player mentally. I'm going to say same player mentally. They're not the same players physically, but they are mentally gunslingers. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, he will, man. But Jimmy Ward's not there, right? Jimmy Ward he's really feasted off this. So Hufanga, maybe Hufanga can do it.
Hufanga, yeah, he'll have some ops.
Yeah. This is the last game without Jimmy Ward probably too. So that's good. They get him back. They've got some reinforcements coming back. I'm going to go under. I think there's 2 turnovers this game, one by the 49ers, one by the Rams. We have a lot of differences this week, so we'll see.
Good.
We'll see who wins this one and who can pull away. So
sweet. All right. Let's take all the questions and then bounce. Tobin says Kyle is locked into the 1980s head coaching reality. It's crazy how someone can go from being like ahead of the curve to behind the curve so fast. NFL moves quick. Kyle?
I don't know, man. I know. Listen, I get it. Like, we can watch film and there are guys open all over the place. But again, you just have to question. I don't know what he's telling the quarterback. I don't know if Jimmy is forcing these balls into double coverage because of, I don't know. I really don't know. And I go back and forth on it. Like, I could see him being that kind of control freak. I don't know, man. It's hard to figure out, Kyle.
Dave says, I haven't heard. Is Lamar not staying a Raven? They didn't sign a new extension. I mean, they'll probably franchise tag him. He's not going anywhere. Double B Studio says K Pasta Grant. S.A. Jesse, we're hanging out. Joseph says sick of Kyle not rotating running backs. Yeah, that would be too obvious. Why would you do something so simple and obvious? What's smarter not to do that? Dave says we need Womack and Jimmy Ward along with the rest, and Verrett would help.
For
He's
sure.
Coming back too. Polo Show says I wouldn't fire Kyle, but if they did, Ken Dorsey has done well with Josh Allen pairing with Lance. I mean, you got to be looking at Ken Dorsey. You know, rant aside.
Teams are weird though, Chris, because what they do is whenever you have an offensive coach and you fire him, you go defense. And whenever you have a defensive coach and you fire him, you go. It's always this weird back and forth. So I agree. I know you've been pushing the Peyton thing. I personally would go the Dorsey route. I don't know. I like to see guys that haven't done it yet, but
I'm
have
into Dorsey.
Just a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would go that route.
You know what's nice about Ken Dorsey? He hasn't got suspended for a year. He never put a bounty on players. That's nice. I mean, because the thing with Sean Payton is like he did that.
That's how he won a Super Bowl was a bounty.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, do you really want to bring that in your organization? Like, yeah, if you win a Super Bowl, but there's no guarantee. Like, he only
weren't they pumping crowd noise in their stadium too? Like, they've done some shady things,
man. I mean,
right?
so yeah, it's kind of I don't know. Ken Dorsey be interesting. Double Beast. Oh, hold on, Nathan.
I don't think you read that one yet.
Yeah, Nathan says run the ball, run the ball. What got me in Denver was they get first downs and pass. Like Wilson is running good, run the ball. Also, Jordan Mason, man, can we get him the ball? If you want to run the ball, can you use like another running back who's good? He might be good.
Grant, you talk about this one a lot as well, but why are they going empty set on first down so much?
Your offensive line is trash. What are you doing? Like, sorry, let's say trash, but like that is not the strength of your team. Like you want extra blockers. What are you doing?
And you're on first down. You're telling them you're passing. Like,
yeah, why? You're not a good passing team. What are you doing?
I don't get it.
Double B Studio says Kyle didn't get his hat. That's why the problems. He's got a hat problem this year? Maybe. Zenix says they beat the Rams week 18 without Trent. That's true, man. And you know who threw a touchdown pass that game? Debo. So we're going to need to see something crazy like that because Jimmy's not going to deliver more than freaking 17 points at best. How are you going to get that 23rd? How are you going to get up to the 20s with Jimmy? They're averaging 18 points per game in the last 9 games. Jesse.
I know we want to be optimistic about this one, and maybe they do win, right? But I'm very pessimistic about this game. A lot of people point to, well, they were 3-5 last year and they pulled it out, and they beat the Rams. It's different. Every year is different. Every year presents different problems. And also, let's not forget that Debo running the ball the way he was something new, right? It's not new anymore. So what is the new wrinkle? What is the new trick? What is the element of surprise that you're going to bring to this game? Because the Rams have completely figured out how to play against Jimmy Garoppolo. They have.
Also, if the Niners are slow starters, then they didn't figure their stuff out last year until week 10. It's week 4. You know, get it figured out now. You know, no more slow start stuff. Don't be 1-3.
Right.
Michael says if Kyle has any creativity or sense of reality, he would put Purdy in for a drive or two this game. Boys got legs on a rollout. The pocket will collapse. Yeah, but he also would have done that last year with Trey Lance, and he did.
He's also got legs to run him like a running back up the middle.
It's true. This team must score on defense. Pick sixes only. Yeah, we got it. That's the game plan. You intercept the ball and then return it for a touchdown. I want you to do that today. Chris Soto says the over-under should be yards in the air. Over-under is 50. Callie Tremor says, I'm not a Trey fan nor my team Jimmy. I'm a Niner fan through and through. Just want the team to get back to its winning ways without all the distractions, winter gear, cone beanies, just a thought. Good idea. This is a good idea. I like that. What I'm thinking is, what if you bring in Ken Dorsey next year and Ken's like, you know what? Neither of these guys are the answer. I want to bring in someone. Well, I mean, I wouldn't hire him, but I have to hear what his plan is. But someone may have a plan like that, and you may be like, all right, well, I won't mind it. Because really, the team is there. As long as you figure out the quarterback, you should be able to win a Super Bowl. So it doesn't matter who it is. Just figure it out. It doesn't matter who it is.
No, you're right.
It really doesn't matter. One more. Michael. Over, under, Danny Gray, 0.5 plays on the field. In my opinion, deep ball could be a momentum swinger. Mark my words. Well, Jimmy won't throw it if it's called. Jimmy. He really had me fooled for a minute when he's talking about wanting freedom. Dude, get out of here. What are you doing? Who are you
The deep
fooling with
balls
that?
were that, bro. I don't know. Did
Who are
you
you
see?
fooling with that? Yeah.
I saw it too, and other people saw it. But the way that JT O'Sullivan broke down that play where he got sacked, and they had the second chance because Jimmy always gets second chances at winning games when he doesn't do it the first time around. He got a second chance. He takes a sack. All right. He has, I forget who it is, running straight up the seam, wide open, doesn't throw it his way. And then the pocket starts to close. And instead of stepping up and there's nobody there, just step up in the pocket and keep your eyes downfield. He's like, oh, I'm going to try to run. And he takes a sack. It's just like the most amateur play I've ever seen.
No, you know what the most
back of the end zone.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Juan says, "Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are great. Kyle Shanahan sucks. I'm over him. He's overrated. We need a new head coach. OC." Woo! Dang, Juan. It's week 4, but I feel you, man. Kevin says, "Danny Gray thoughts." We haven't had an opportunity. What?
Here's something to think about with Danny Gray. Twice in that Bears game, twice in that Seattle game when Jimmy came in, he lost his mind on the sidelines on Jimmy Garoppolo, right? This is a rookie coming in. Ayuk used to do this same thing, and all of a sudden he was in the doghouse miraculously. Mm-hmm. So if you're a rookie coming into a vet team that has won with Jimmy and loves Jimmy, and you're losing your mind on the quarterback,
I didn't see this.
Probably not going to play a lot.
That was caught on camera. I didn't see this.
Yeah. If you go watch the All-22, you'll see him just like freaking out.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. T7 says, how do you feel about Debo looking hurt after running the ball, getting handed the ball to run it right after? I don't know. It felt like he was getting dinged up, getting lit up.
The running him at the end of the half was negligence beyond belief, in my opinion. I don't understand the thought process.
Dominic says, is Fred Warner the heart and soul of the defense? Yeah, maybe. Seems like it. I don't know. What do you think?
Man, heart and soul. I don't know, because when Fred was out last year, Aziz stepped in pretty good.
That's true.
I just think that there's a lot of really good players. I think Fred is probably one of the better leaders on the team. I'll say that, but I don't know about heart and soul, man. I just think there's a lot of talent on this defense. If you had everybody else playing and took Fred Warner out, you think this defense wouldn't dominate still? I think it would. I do.
But he's saying heart and soul. Like, to me, when I was in the locker room after the game, the guy who was the most upset, the most visibly upset, was him. So I don't know. In that sense, he's like the emotional hub of the defense.
Yeah. I guess I could get with that.
Because it ain't Bosa. Dave Barclay says,
No.
I want a Cohn beanie to wear with a long sleeve Cohn Zone shirt. All right, well, I'm having dinner with my business partner tomorrow, so we'll talk about all these ideas. Thank you. FP says, bring in Kaepernick as a throwing QB with Jimmy. Kaepernick. Talk about not being in football shape. Not being in football shape. What about Cam, though? Kyle Ryan, the defense guru. Yeah, that's right. He really is a defensive guru. He needs to rebrand himself.
If Cap coach was, I don't know,
you, Jonathan.
80% of what he was, I would take Cap. But I think it's hard with Cap, right? Because people love Cap. They like the nostalgia of Cap. I got a Cap signature sitting right behind me. But when you're out of the league for as long as you are, like, we have to respect the league a little bit. Yeah. The league is quickly moving and very, very good. Nobody can just come in off the street and instantly be good. Look at Watson, how much he struggled in the limited we saw him, and he's only been out for a year and a half.
Yeah, if you want to bring back Colin Kaepernick and have him be a player, like, you honestly probably need to bring him in for years. Like, you'd have to prepare him he'd have to be in all your offseason. You have to treat him like he's 21, but he's 35. It would take a long time and a lot of commitment. I don't think anyone's going to do it. Cap running back with Jimmy QB, Cap is older than me. I don't know how much quick twitch Cap has left, man. We're old. Cap's almost 35 years old. I used to be fast. I used to be able to run a 4.5. I could probably run a 4.9 right now. So I don't know what Cap's running.
But he also hasn't taken any hits. He's probably pretty fresh legs. I'll say that. He's got fresh legs.
Fresh tread. All right, that's the show. Thanks for watching. Niners are back at practice tomorrow, and they play on Monday night. So let's see what Kyle has to say. Jimmy doesn't talk on the same day as Kyle anymore. I've never seen this. They have him talk the next day. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting.
I wonder what's up with that. I'll say this real quick. 25 minutes, so 15 after the hour, I'm having on an LA insider. So we're going to go behind enemy lines, talk to them about the Rams, break down the game together. So tap in over at Last Second Sports. That'll be on 15 minutes after the hour.
Sounds great. Jonathan says, love you, Grant. Been watching since 2019. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be back tomorrow. Take care.